Even if you had no car payment, would you still live the same life and work the same job? Of course you wouldn't, but you're trapped because society has brainwashed you into thinking you'll never get ahead. So instead of signing up for monthly car payments and becoming a comfortable slave, invest your paycheck in things like real estate, stocks and learning new skills so your money works for you and not the other way around.
What's up, everybody? It's Graham. Welcome back to the channel, and I'm back with another video. In case you haven't figured it out, today we're going to get into the car payment epidemic that is plaguing us in America right now. Not quite sure how it is in other necks of the woods or neck of the woods. If you recall in a past video, I ended up talking about briefly on the truck that I had. I had a 2019 Ford F-150 FX4 four-door truck with a custom ARE camper on the top. And at 0% interest, I was still paying $850 per month. And that was for 48 months. I know a lot of people now are doing 60 months and even 72 months. So the payments were slightly higher because of the amount of years that I financed it for, but still, if it would have been 36 months, it would have been over $1,000. So it's kind of insane. You see a lot of videos out there on the internet. Mine's not going to exactly be like that, but we're going to touch base on maybe a slightly different side of it. And it's no longer just a matter of people going out and financing for cars and paying over, $1,000 a month. It's that even the used car market is absolutely ridiculous now. So it's very, very hard to find even a decent used car that's going to wind up being reliable for many years down the road. So what I like to say in these videos when people are like, well, I bought a car and it's $60,000, or I bought a car that's $80,000. Technically, if you didn't pay cash for that car, you bought a payment. You didn't buy a car, you bought a payment. And that's unfortunately a lot of the ways that people are buying vehicles nowadays, or buying anything, is they look at it based on what they think they can afford per month, when in reality, you can't even really afford it. I heard a good idea from somebody else that said, why don't you sock away what you think a car payment would be with your insurance and all of that, with maintenance, sock it away into a savings account, try that for about a year, right? If you can't do that, then you're not going to be able to afford a car payment. But at least at the end of the year, if you do it, then you got quite a bit of money to where you may be able to find a good used car, pay cash for it, or put a substantial down payment down on the car to lower your payments. So let's go ahead and get into another video here. The first one that the guy talked about, I don't really invest in real estate other than my 401k, not necessarily stocks, but I do invest in myself a lot. So one of the things, like even doing this, was a skill I didn't know a year ago. I'm still not that good at it. I'm getting better at it each time I do a video. So going out and learning a new skill, I believe is absolutely vital. I don't plan on retiring. I don't want to say I like to work. No one really likes to work, but there's a phrase that I've heard before. The problem with retirement is that you can never take a vacation. I would think after a while we'll get bored traveling and doing stuff like that. Keeping myself busy doing something would be wonderful, but of course doing it on my own terms. So without further ado, let's check out another video talking about this.
Thing I've ever heard. 13, 14, 1,200 on cars, on one vehicle. The car payment, that is the thing. That is the gap that keeps the middle class from becoming and building wealth. The average car payment, $717 for one person. And if you invested that money just over 30 years at a 10% rate, that's over $1.4 million.
Yeah, I don't know if most people are going to do that and then invest the difference over years, but it just kind of gives you a visual, kind of gives you a layout, makes you understand how much money you're really blowing on these new cars. Again, you can see a lot of videos of people that are spending $2,000 a month. It's absurd, the amount that people are spending. And it comes down to, what is it? Is it maybe a little bit of ego? I'm in outside sales and I'm in my car a lot. So I would say that for me, I need a really good, reliable car. Most people work in an office. They work in some form of a building. They're there for 8 hours. They're not in their car that much. Noted, you might have long commute times, but overall, unless you're in outside sales doing deliveries or something like that, you're not in your car a lot. So I think it's kind of insane that you would spend $1,000, $1,200. It was insane for me to spend $850. But then I just was like, you know what? This is, I'd rather save this money. And in a way, again, if you watched a couple videos ago, I didn't even really get to save that much because an inflation hit after 2020, and that savings of $850 was virtually eroded. I was already saving money, but I'm not saving an additional $850 on top of that because groceries are more expensive, electricity is more expensive, everything's more expensive. So at the time, I could afford it, but I just kind of humbled myself and went with, as I've mentioned before, I'll pop a photo up on screen, but a 2006 Scion XA, which is made by Toyota, and I bought it from my mother-in-law for $2,500 and put another couple grand into it to get it running better. And I've been doing that now for almost 3 years. Like right now, I have I think maybe a little exhaust leak. And I talked to my buddy who runs an auto parts store, and I can get the catalytic converter and the whole exhaust assembly for my price under $500. So, and it's a bolt-on that's made specifically for the car. There's no cutting, no welding. So because it's an older vehicle, even though it's a foreign car, it's a Japanese car, it's actually a lot easier to work on. And I might not even need that. It could be literally just a $2 gasket that's in the exhaust, causing it to maybe leak a little or make a little bit more noise. So it's definitely less expensive to repair. It doesn't look nice. It's got rock chips all over it. It's got bad clear coat paint that's faded off. And I have to admit, sometimes I think it's human nature to just get that bug to you're itching to buy a new car. You see them driving down the road, and don't get me wrong, I think about it, but looking at a 40, 50, 60, $70,000 car, and then the payments associated with that, I'm not going to spend $60,000, $70,000 in cash to go buy something that's a depreciating asset. There's no value in it. Now, if it was like my buddy Chris down in the valley that you saw in the barn dominium video I did, he pays cash for those, but he a Dodge Demon and a Dodge Hellcat, and they've almost doubled in value. So there are some investments, but that's not his daily driver. So if you're new here, I like to go back to previous videos and read a couple of y'all's comments. So we're going to start with this one here. This was from my inflation video. If you haven't seen it, after this video, go back and check it out. But this man says, a chicken chalupa supreme is $6 with some change. We officially can't even eat unhealthy now. I agree. Several years ago, it was fast food was definitely the cheaper option. Because healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, organic, stuff like that, and at least in the American stores, are very expensive. And so I understand if you're a single parent with a few kids, it was at the time a lot easier, a lot cheaper to go and eat fast food, which is extremely addictive and extremely bad for you to do. But when you're talking about $6 for a chicken chalupa, I remember back in my junior year of high school, the same year I got kicked out of high school, we would go, I think it was Saturday night. Somebody drop a comment and let me know regarding Taco Bell. I think it was Saturday nights or Sunday nights, something like that. After a specific time, you can go get the soft taco. For the shell taco was 39 cents, and then the soft taco was 49 cents. And we would go and load up. They used to have like a little Happy Meal type box that you would load up 12 tacos at a time. And we'd go and eat there for pennies, split it with a few friends. And of course, we were stoned and extremely hungry at the time, so we downed them quite easily.
Say 59 cents, 'cause that's all it takes at Taco Bell. Hard to believe, but you know darn well it tastes so good.
Where you go and you get a hamburger combo and for two people, and you're spending $30 for fast food shit. Yeah, I'd rather go and spend $30 at the store and try to make my own food. So yeah, That's how bad inflation is getting right now. And that inflation's affecting the cars as well, to the point that not only are new cars too expensive, but the used car market's an absolute joke. Again, not everybody can find those deals. I would recommend Facebook Marketplace. It seems to find somebody local that you can go and negotiate and haggle. I would like to say that my two older kids that drive and have their own cars listen to me, but I think over time they just kind of realized on their own that it's just better to not have a car payment. My oldest drives his girlfriend's older, I think it's a Chevy Cobalt, and that thing, they have gone up to Ruidoso, New Mexico in that. They've gone down to Corpus a lot, up to New Mexico a couple times. And that car, I'm talking several years. I'm thinking the 10 years they've been together, I think his girlfriend has had that same car. Doesn't always look the nicest, but that thing runs. It's paid for. Now that he's got him a really good coating job, he just needs to replace a couple of the front assembly shocks or something like that. I can get them at a good price, and then have my boy Justin put them in for him. And he's going to save a lot of money even doing that. And then even with the amount of money that he's making now, he's just kind of realized, yeah, it would be nice to go and drive a nice fancy car, but they both work remotely from home. So again, it would be more of an ego thing to go and buy yourself this new flashy fancy car and then literally just waste your money. And then my daughter, she drives a 2013, 2014 Honda Sonata that's paid for. And it's funny, because she's a little sensitive sometimes. And when I talk to her on the phone, oh, the car this, the car that. But when we went up there to see her, that car is actually nicer than mine. It's nicer than my oldest son's too. It's actually nicer than Ross Teggy, depending on how you look at it. It was a really nice car, very well taken care of. She takes well care of it. And even then, her boyfriend helped her out with it. And so she didn't have to pay for it, but it's her car, title's in her name now. And it's just a really nice car. There's no reason for her to go get another car. She's able to sock away several months worth of income. So I would say do the same thing. Like I said, I think it's nice to say that they listen to me, but I think it's more like do what I say and not what I do, because I think we've all fallen prey to, getting a good job, making some good money, and then feeling like, hey, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. I get that. But then I think some people have this mindset where they've just accepted the fact that you're always going to have a car payment, which to me makes absolutely no sense. Because it doesn't have to be that way. Noted now with inflation being so high, on the used car side, you're probably not going to get yourself a really nice used car. But if you're working in an office, you just need something to get you from point A to point B. You don't need something that's so fancy. What's funny in a lot of these car videos where they ask them what their car payment is and they work at a dealership, it's hilarious because they'll work at, say, a Nissan dealership and none of them drive Nissans. They'll work at a Kia dealership and none of them drive Kias. I don't know. I tend to buy from somebody that uses their own product. A lot of the stuff that I sell, I use at home as well. They're not really for homes, but they're commercial chemicals and products. But if I can use them at home, I use them. And then I'm able to tell my customers, yeah, it really, really works. But if you go to a Chevy dealership and then the salesman's like, oh no, I drive a Mercedes. Well, it's kind of weird that you're selling Chevys. I'm sorry that you drive a Mercedes, but you're selling Chevys. So let's check out another one of your comments. Let me see here. This one is from the corporate America one. And so this individual says, never be a company man or woman. Always have a backup plan and an exit strategy ready just in case the company decides to fire you. Exactly. I like to call that having a spare tire. You see a lot of these videos, and especially now with the election coming up next month, it's very interesting how you see these commercials and the ads, and they're all wrong. This president helps the rich with their taxes, and this president doesn't. People have to realize that it's tax code. It's not an individual, and until they change the tax code, it's never going to be fixed. Tax code was written for business owners. So whether you are a Republican billionaire or a Democrat billionaire, they still get the same tax breaks, loopholes that are all legal. But guess what? So do you if you own a business. You can be a small business owner. You can be an eBay seller and sell 10 items a month on your eBay store, and you will still qualify for those same tax benefits and loopholes. Noted, they're not billions of dollars that you're getting back, but you're not spending billions of dollars either. And so, but they're the same tax loopholes. My CPA does it for me every year. Why? Because I am an employee somewhere, but I also always keep a side hustle, a side business, a legal side hustle, right? And I don't mean illegal, illicit stuff. I mean, it's got a DBA, which stands for doing business as, or some people call it a business license, although it's not a license. So it is a legal registered business that I can then write off my taxes. So again, I'm not a CPA. I'm not giving you financial advice, but I'm just letting you know you should always have a backup plan. Like go back to that first video, is invest your money in learning new skills. Before my son went into coding school, he was already doing these little, I can't remember the name of it, but it was these little programs you can buy, pods or whatever, and spend $10, $15 on them. And he was doing that for a good year and a half before he ever got himself into school. And when he got into school, he breezed by because a lot of this he had self-taught himself beforehand with, you know, some tweaks and stuff that his instructors were able to help him with. So I would always say in 2024, invest in skills. Real estate's a little out of touch for most Americans. And so is investing in the stock markets. It's out of range for a lot of Americans, but you know what? You can always learn a new skill and apply that to a side hustle, AKA a spare tire, in case you do get laid off or fired from your job. You have something to kind of fall back on. So let's go to this next video.
A lot
here.
of you cannot afford the big ass trucks that you're driving. I recently saw one of the highest car payments I've ever seen while talking to a couple on this podcast. They spend $2,495 every month on their luxury cars. This couple is drowning in debt, and the cost of their cars, a BMW and Mercedes, are definitely contributing to that mess. But they chose these cars because, according to them, they'd always had luxury cars. Again, the key thing when buying a car is you have to start by choosing one that you can afford, not the car you think you should have. Most people do not do that. Read my lips. Don't f***ing do this.
What an idiot. Oh, what a loser. Good.
Get the car you can afford, not the car you think you deserve. If you're new here, I also like to end it with something funny and amusing. Now, this here is funny, but it's kind of sad because this is actually real. But this is another reason why maybe you shouldn't go get yourself a brand new 2024 car with all of the technology because look what Ford is doing.
For a car payment on time, Ford in the process of a patent application for self-driving cars to drive away from their owners. After a series of missed payments, Ford's proposal will force the car to drive itself to a repossession agency. Having the car drive away would be a last resort. The patent application shows Ford would first pressure delinquent owners by disabling some of the car's features like the air conditioning or having the audio system play unpleasant sounds.
Wow.
Could you imagine? Now, unfortunately, I'm somebody who's had a car repossessed before back in, I think, 1998. Got a little hoodwinked by my ex-wife when we swapped cars, and she swapped it with me because she was behind on the payments, and it was a nice Camaro, right? So then the ego, I'm like, yeah, I'd love to have my Camaro back, and had it parked out in my apartment parking lot for a few days, and then it got repoed. And then a lot of the stuff that I had in my car, like my original black belt that was given to me by my instructor and some other things when I went to go pick up the contents of my vehicle at the tow truck company, were missing. Oh no, we didn't steal them. Yeah, they did. Why the hell would they want a belt, a black belt? It was my original one though, so it sucks. But anyway, can you imagine you're just like out for lunch at like Chick-fil-A or whatever, and your car just starts up on its own and then frickin' drives away all by itself. That would be crazy. But you're going to start seeing that. You know, they're filing for the patent, which means they've already got the technology to do it. The technology already exists. Or they start messing with you, as they say, with your air conditioner not working or pumping weird sounds through your stereo system. That's just insane. Why would you want that level of control? So anyway, that's my story. That's today's video. If you've made it this far, as always, I appreciate you giving it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification for future videos. And I appreciate you watching. But if you watched all this and you still think that that I'm wrong, and drop a comment and let me know. But also, if you think that it's normal to have that type of a payment, then listen to Michael.
Stop it. Get some help.